Thank you for joining us on Data Cloud Now, where we bring you the latest in all things data in business and industry. Today, we are exploring the transformative power of the Data Cloud. I'm now passing things off to our DCN correspondent in Mumbai, India, Gautam Srinivasan. Enjoy.
Thank you, Ryan. I'm Gautam Srinivasan, and welcome to Data Cloud Now. I'm joined now by Sunny Bedi, CIO and CDO at Snowflake. And welcome to the program, Sunny. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on how Snowflake is not just driving value from data for its customers, but also transforming itself in the process. So I want to start with, how is 2022 shaping up for Snowflake in terms of its products, in terms of its innovations that it's bringing to the market?
Yeah, it's nice to meet you in person. Thanks for having me over here. So I think I'll break the answer into three components. First component is really around data marketplace. So if you think about the data marketplace and you compare that with the music industry, music was a really poor experience on how people used to listen to music. They used to buy a CD, they used to burn the CD, and they used to share that music with their friends and family. And whenever they really wanted to listen to that music, they're sitting in a plane, they never had that CD in front of them. Then came Spotify and iTunes, and it completely transformed the music industry. Data Marketplace has the same promise. We provide the infrastructure for companies to store their data, share the meaningful insights of that data, and help other customers, partners, suppliers, whoever they might be, to really take advantage of that data to drive transformations on their end. Think about Data Marketplace, think about data sharing as the Spotify and iTunes of the music industry. So that's one. The second is we made a very important acquisition called Streamlit. Streamlit is going to be a game changer. You can take advantage of putting all the data into Snowflake, seamlessly integrate with Streamlit, do unbelievable modeling and visualization, and starts to show you incredible insights about your data and really make that so seamless for people that it's self-service, it's highly automated, and very easy to deploy and implement. Streamlit would be the second most important thing. And I would say the third area that I would like to highlight is building applications on top of Snowflake. So there is a lot of data out there that is required for application stack. And there's a high degree of friction for high intensive data applications that are not built on Snowflake. It's cumbersome, there's a time to market, there's speed elements in it, there's security elements in it. All of that stuff is so seamlessly integrated with Snowflake that we're seeing a lot of companies now having built a lot of their applications on top of Snowflake where there's high intensity data that's needed.
Absolutely. So you provided flexibility, agility, and control for your customers. I want to expand this conversation to understand how Snowflake is enabling its customers to go on from being, say, data rich and information poor to truly leveraging the value of their data.
Yeah, I would say that, look, the trend in the last many years was making data to be in a landing spot where you can take advantage of it. But there was still a lot of friction. There's still like silos. I think with Snowflake platform, all that friction and siloness is completely eliminated. People want inclusiveness of data. Democratization is important, but if you don't provide the inclusiveness of it, it's somewhat incomplete. Right? So I would say that people are starting to make data more inclusive, giving it to folks in every single department for it to be self-service. They can drive the right outcomes that they need for their department. And it has to be really self-service so that you're not dependent upon a BI team writing your dashboards. You want to give people the ability to take the data, drive the right information and insights from it, and really take advantage of it and drive the right outcomes for the company. I truly believe, I've seen this over and over again, if you measure the right stuff, you can drive the right outcomes for your company.
All right. For our viewers wondering, does Snowflake walk the talk? I want to understand, being customer zero, how Snowflake transforms itself every day with data-driven measures.
So I'll just give you a very simple example of my organization. I lead up the IT and security organization. And my first message to every single employee is no PowerPoints. If you show PowerPoints to me, the meeting is over. We have a meeting every Monday morning. The first meeting, we call it Operations Metrics Review. And we kind of measure the health of IT, security, employee experience, automation journey, you name it. And we don't really have any PowerPoints that we kind of look at how the journey is. We go into an instance of Snowflake internally, we call it Snowhouse. And we open up the metrics and we kind of like all collectively look at those metrics and have a gauge of, is it good, bad, or ugly? Look at the trend, is it improving or deteriorating, or is it flat? And everybody looks at the same lens, and there's no hiding behind it.
Any anecdote that you could share when this kind of process has been enacted and it's delivered the kind of value which you were anticipating?
Yeah, I think the best example would be that I could share with you is that now imagine 3,500 people were hired during COVID, and making sure that they're extremely productive week one, they're extremely productive month one is really important, not just for me, but for the functional departments that they represent. So ensuring they get their laptop on time on the Monday morning, making sure they have all the provisioning of all the applications that they need to do their work, whether they're in sales or marketing or finance, is really important. And so the indicator for that is how many tickets are they opening month one, and does that translate into a good user experience, employee experience, or a bad user experience? So we measure that very thoroughly. And when we started measuring that at the beginning of COVID, we were roughly having an employee in the first month on average create 9 tickets a month. That's not a great experience. Over time, through automation, also making sure that we're not over-provisioning people things that they don't need to use, and then really creating a personalized user experience where if you're in finance, you get a user experience that is needed to not only be productive, but also be compliant because you have access to a lot of financial data. We have brought that trend down from 9 to roughly less than 4.
All right, demonstrable value in action.
And user experience has gone up. Are we perfect? No. There's still areas for us to improve, but the data and the insights that we get every Monday morning when we look at it drives our strategies, drives our roadmaps, and it's really easy to kind of get everybody aligned towards those objectives.
Absolutely. Improvement and change, that's in the very nature of business. So in that context, I want to understand from you the new problems that, say, Snowflake is looking to solve for its customers in that quest to improve value of their data.
Yeah, I think, as I mentioned earlier, I think a lot of the customers, and this is where I think the next phase is going to be, I think it's around 2 things. The customers are trying to take advantage of the data that they have, not only just to drive transformation and amazing outcomes internally for them, but externally as well for their customers, but then take that to the next level and saying, well, how much of that experience can I monetize? And through data sharing, through data marketplace, we expect that to kind of continue to go up. Customers take advantage of the data where, it's all of a sudden a cutting edge. They're able to monetize using that edge, that advantage. And the second thing, as I mentioned, is just to continue on that is how do they build applications that can also be monetized, that are highly data intensive, rich applications. So both data marketplace, data applications, connected applications are going to be a massive amount of opportunity for us and our customers.
Absolutely. Now, as we kind of wrap up the conversation, a question on best practices for many of the customers who are still in transition. What would you say is the best way to kind of seamlessly weave data across their entire corporate fabric to truly unlock the next level of growth for them?
I think I would say like three things I would highlight. First, in the initial stages of your transformation, pick 1 or 2 workloads that creates momentum behind your cloud transformation journey. Don't pick like 50 things, and don't pick like the most complex thing. Pick 1 or 2 things that really, really are going to develop the momentum, drive the transformation. You can see the before and after, and it generates a high degree of momentum and energy to drive that transformation. Second, any new workloads that you're going to introduce in the company, whether it's any automation that you're trying to do, just like how you think about security first in architecting that automation, you need to think about data going forward as, just like security, you need to think about data. And so as such, you want to drive that transformation in the cloud. You don't want to start that on-prem or on your legacy platform and then move it to the cloud. You're just wasting your time. And then I would say third, which is where a lot of the companies struggle with, is they just have such a large technical debt that they have to migrate. I get that they want to end of life that and move to Snowflake or a data platform like Snowflake, but do that maybe in a manner that is prioritized, and it's not like at the expense of all the new transformations that are competing with it. So you stop the company's trajectory of what you're trying to transform because you're trying to move everything from on-prem to the cloud. It's important to do that, but do that in a manner that it doesn't impact what the company is really trying to go do at the core of its business.
So don't think of your data in isolation, set it free, and it could unlock new possibilities.
Absolutely.
Well, that's your inside look at the transformative power of the Data Cloud. Sunny, thank you so much here for joining us here on the Data Cloud Now show. Thank you so much for your insights. Great to speak with you. And of course, thank you for our viewers for tuning in. We've got more interviews lined up at the Data Cloud World Tour India series.